cherry pick and take like one module of the main chain and apply it to his side chain. For example, the consensus algorithm or the transactions types and things. So it can be like really easy to take one module, one piece of code, and apply it to your side chain. And yeah, so that's all these tasks. I think we're going to develop throughout the remaining of this year. And yeah, I cannot tell you like the next 5 years, but at least I can tell you in the next 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll call each other and I'll just tell you what he said.
Yeah, I agree with the statement that 5 years for a blockchain project is like eternity, because you know, our projects are online like 2 years, 2 years, and 2 years. So how do we know what will happen in 5 years? 1 year is more clear, though, at least for waves. We'll be focusing on smart contracts, make them safe, reasonable, deliverable. The idea is that we want you to write code so that you won't struggle errors like developer mistakes like happened on Ethereum, and that's like the main aspect of technical development of waves. We would, as for business development, we'd like to work with more and more businesses using our technology. And I think this is it for 2018. Well, maybe from UI side, we're also working on that, but I'm not here in a position to speak for UI. Okay, I actually have a question about sidechains. May I ask now?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, how do sidechains differ from different chains?
The base of it is the same. I mean, sidechain, or at least our idea of sidechain, there are different ideas in the industry. The idea of sidechain that we have is going to be like a totally independent and functional blockchain, but in the way that we're giving the developer of this sidechain all the tools to do this easily, to deploy the sidechain easily throughout the SDK, and somehow to have always like a point of contact between the main chain and the sidechain, in the way that if you want to send tokens to the sidechain or get them from the sidechain, in the way, so it's going to be like basically a transaction time from the main chain to send these tokens to the specific sidechain and so on. But apart from that, the whole concept of sidechain that we have is very independent from the main chain. Like actually, it can be that someone using our SDK, this sidechain development kit, someone can like deploy like a totally independent blockchain, totally running by its own, because yeah, it's going to be open source and someone like will give the tools to do this. But the idea is to run this whole Lisk ecosystem in the way that, and as we are running this depots system, the delegates that they are now securing the network, they are assumed to as well support these sidechains and provide the security of the other networks. And so it's going to be like a synergy between the developer and the Lisk ecosystem or main chain.
Maybe move to Kristof first.
We can discuss it.
Let's finish the round.
Sorry guys, I know you will get lost in all this technology. No, so yeah, for NEM, we have quite a lot of challenges ahead of us. Our developers have been working on a new version, which is was actually built from scratch again. So NEM 2.0, the code name is Catapult. They've been working on that since January 2016. We are nearing, so we're currently doing the beta testing, which is pretty challenging, but it's really going very well. So it's hopefully within a year we will be able to do the public release. We're currently exploring our roadmap to do that release. Technically it's not very challenging, but there's a lot of things that are involved with that. So from a technical perspective, I think we will be pretty busy doing those things. There's a very nice roadmap for additional features that is starting to really take shape. I'm currently pushing everybody to actually work on the roadmap and finalize it so that we can start to be more transparent on what our roadmap is ahead, where in all honesty our developers are always very much focused on developing and not much on communicating all the features, but there's some very, very interesting features there, so I would really like to share that. And actually, in my personal opinion, our biggest challenges are not on the technology. Our biggest challenges are on the organizational level. Finding the right people to educate about the NEM blockchain, scale up the organization, making sure that we can provide the proper support to businesses, because with all the crypto hype, actually it's crazy. Like last year, I was still planning to do active business development and everything. We completely stepped away from that. We are very happy that we can still keep up with the demand. At least we try to keep up with the demand. So we're creating lots of resources internally for training, also business development. We're setting up a service provider program, so those are actually my day-to-day challenges. I'm very lucky. We are actually very lucky to have some good developers. We're currently still hiring. I think we're still hiring 10 more developers for the tools and everything. So finding the right people and building the organization on a global level, because we had a lot of activity early on in Asia, and now we are scaling up the teams here in Europe and starting to work on expansion in the US too. And that's, in my opinion, the most challenging part. So, because it's really difficult to find people that really understand the true potential of blockchain. There's a lot of people that are interested in blockchain and that have a basic understanding of the technology, but so getting them up to the point where they actually can assist businesses and actually find the real the sweet spot where blockchain is really providing value. That's one of the main challenges I see today. And probably over the next 5 years too. I don't see that challenge being solved in the next year or something. But on a technology level, obviously we will gradually see more challenges, and it's difficult. I agree with these guys. It's difficult to predict that far in the future.
Thank you. I think that we still have 7 more minutes, so I guess that it's time for a Q&A session. Are there any questions from the audience? Just raise your hand up, and Frederic will pass you the microphone.
Go, Ernest, go. Go, Ernest. Und Fernando.
Something like, how did you guys get into blockchain development, and how would you suggest somebody at this stage getting into it?
You do realize you are asking this question to 3 people that are highly involved with their baby as a blockchain, right? So we will probably, all 3 of us will probably say start with our blockchain, because I think both, all 3 of us, like NEM, Waves and Lisk, all of them are taking a pretty similar approach, I think, but where Ethereum is I think a lot more complicated, and so in my personal opinion, it's difficult to give you any advice on this. I would say try to find a blockchain that's easy to develop on, so that you can do some fast prototyping and learn how blockchain can benefit and how you can build on it. But I think these guys are more technical, so they might have some interesting ideas on that.
Yeah, I think starting to code for blockchain should actually start with learning how blockchain is different from other technologies, understand its limitations, that there are things like immutability, things like limited throughput, things like inalterable contact, contract and other stuff. Like the data that you could access on a blockchain is can only live inside blockchain and things like this. So I think a good start is maybe even some Coursera videos explaining what blockchain is and what limitations it has. And after that, yeah, I think you could look around and choose the project that suits your first pet project most.
Yeah, I think I don't have anything else to add. I totally agree with what has been said. I would say, well, as with everything, we have the internet is totally open for us. I think now, I mean, all these, well, most of all the blockchain projects are open source. So, is for a developer, I think is you know, like a candy. You can just go there to the GitHub repository and start checking what's here, what's not. Like, do I understand this? Do I like this? No. I think it's this open source idea. It makes it so easy for someone with the skills, the coding or the computer science skills to just get the grasp the idea easily and know, is this what I want or is this what is interesting for me or not. I think it's, yeah, nowadays it's super easy to get that feeling.
Do we have any other questions?
I have two questions actually. The first one is, you mentioned a lot of challenges. Are there any challenges coming from the political regulatory environment? That's the first one. And the second one is, if you look at the ecosystem in Europe, is there a place where you would say it's better to start working on blockchain from this political regulatory environment than others?
Yeah, so, well, the first question, is totally out of my reach. As far as I know, in our company we are doing everything legal, so I don't know, it's, like, honestly, I don't know how is the specific regulations and how they can affect like, a specific job or not. I mean, I know the basics and what you can read in the articles and blogs, but I cannot like properly give you an answer. I can give you something like regarding more technical part, but maybe not in the political part. The second question, yes, I can. I think, well, this is my opinion as well, but I can give you my opinion in the way that actually if you Google what is the best city for blockchain or the best European city for blockchain, I think you will find the answer like Berlin. And as a matter of fact, we are based in Berlin, but I think in Berlin there are like every week you can find more than three actually like meetups regarding blockchain in any topic regarding inside blockchain. Can be political stuff, can be something technical. Then as apart from Lisk, I think there are like other 5 or 6 startups related to blockchain or maybe more, maybe. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know the scene in Berlin is really active with the startups in general and especially with blockchain industries. And for example, I think that IOTA is well there, or they have an office, and Ethereum, I think they have an office too. But yeah, anyway, I would say like Berlin, because I am there, I think it's a really, really good place in Europe to go there to feel the vibe of blockchain and the whole startup idea. Yeah.
Well, the question was about legal concerns for blockchain, and second I forgot. Okay, of course, legal concerns are an issue for blockchain, and tracking digital identity is part of legal thing here. So, if you're more interested in this topic, I suggest you find Arnold Daniels here in this audience. He's from Legal Things. He will tell you a lot more about legal stuff and blockchain altogether.
I think we need to distinguish also between blockchain as a technology or ICOs and tokens. You know? There's a very big difference, obviously. Blockchains in itself, there are some issues. There are some considerations with regards to regulation that need to be taken into account. Obviously, it's very complicated, What I can tell you is that I know that within the European Parliament and the European Commission, they are taking a pretty proactive approach. They are actually working on regulation, both for ICOs and blockchain. It will probably take a long time, right? We know that regulation usually takes a long time, but what I experienced with talking with a lot of people in the politics actually, is that, and this is mainly in Europe, right? So what I experienced is that in Europe they're really taking the approach that they don't want to put a halt to the innovation. So that gives me the confidence long term that that in Europe we're pretty good, like well situated long term. With regards to which is the best place in Europe to be, in all honesty, I have traveled to like over the past year probably every European country, and they all claim they are the biggest blockchain center. So it's pretty difficult, you know. But there is some, you know, from my objective opinion, I think Zurich area and Zug is like very active, mainly because of the fact that Switzerland is already taking actually already came up with some regulation for blockchain, and some good, how should I say, mainly looking at which are the best regulatory environments to start on with blockchain and even ICOs. Usually it's the smaller European countries. So there's like, I know I met some people from Gibraltar and Lithuania and Liechtenstein and all those small things in Europe, small countries. They are basically seeing the potential of the technology, and they try to win a lot of projects and blockchain startups for themselves. But it's important to do a proper assessment before you incorporate something. So well, there are some lawyers that are really specialized in this, and it's important to do a proper assessment.
Okay, I believe the last one question. There's a gentleman in front. Raise the hand.
Hey everybody. So maybe my question will be not very comfortable for you, because I'm sitting here on the first row with a lot of people listening to you, and you still sounds like a corporation. So there were no words about people, a lot of words about the technology, the development, your development of your company. But when Satoshi made all of this, it was about the hope, it was about the freedom, it was about the community. So the principal question is, how you big guys gonna help other projects who's going on ICO, who's trying to make something new, could help, really help, not about the education, but really help. So it's, I want you go back to the very beginning, where the Satoshi or Vitalik started. It was no such a lot of marketing. So my question is, how you big guys will help other guys from the community to be as good as you, to make people free?
It's a good question, and in my opinion, not that challenging or something. I told earlier, you know, it's about creating value for the end user, right? And that's what it's all about. It's all about people. In all honesty, if you want to start a project, I think a lot of the blockchain projects that are available already make it very easy to start an ICO or something, create a project on top of a blockchain project. So I think that's already a lot of help you are getting. If you look at these three blockchain projects, they had like, we had a lot of work, and obviously it's not that we didn't work really hard to become big. But as a NEM foundation also, we do assist projects with some things. Obviously, you need to take into account that there's a very high demand for support, and obviously we need to make sure that we can support everybody equally. So that's the main challenge. It's in the end, it's all about the end user and putting value for the end user. And if you have very good ideas, then you will probably get some good support with one of the blockchains. But obviously, it's up to everybody to put in a lot of work themselves too. So.
Yeah, in Waves we have ways to help projects too. We have Waves Lab Acceleration, project that will help you with ICO and other steps of the process. If you apply there and you will be selected, well, Waves will help you.
Yeah, in the same way. Well, first I will answer like in general. We are still like open source projects, so anyone can go and contribute. And actually we have, I mean, and every day seeing like people that I don't know personally, they are like just a nickname on GitHub, and they are like contributing, adding value, commenting, suggesting changes and so on. Actually, there is one guy who was really active the last 2 weeks, and I think we are going to try to meet him in person, because like he was by his own, not there is no contract at all. He was just enjoying like the open source and making all these changes to the Lisk project. So I think that if the individual wants to contribute as an open source, is still an open source. And in more specifically for Lisk, still we have the same way as Waves. I remember like 2 or 3 months ago, our CEO Max Gordek, he implemented this how is the name, like Pioneers Vow, that you can Google it maybe, and he's like putting like a huge percentage of his stake, like what he got in the ICO for all these for the growth of this Lisk environment, in the way that all these sidechains that they will implement some decentralized application, he put that money there for them to get the funding. So everything that wants to make something or contribute in the Lisk ecosystem, they can apply for these funds, and if the project is good enough, they will have the funds and they will implement the idea in the Lisk ecosystem.
Okay, thank you very much. This is everything for today. I hope that David will forgive us for being a little bit too late. Okay, once again, Kristof Van de Reck from NEM, Ilya Smagin from Waves, and Iker Alustiza from Lisk. Thank you very much for attending our discussion panel. If you have any further questions, I believe that you'll be able to ask our panelists right next to the stage or anywhere at our expo section. Thank you, gentlemen, once again, and well, I guess that we have to clear the stage.
Thank you.